Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all my people around the globe. This is the Joe Soro Experiment, otherwise known as the Experiment. It's been one heck of an evening. Had a chance to view some basketball, had a chance to view some baseball, but definitely baseball was the big ticket tonight, at least for me, anyways. We'll get into other discussions involving other sports as well, specifically football. That's usually the trifecta for me: football, basketball, and baseball, like it used to be. But tonight, the genesis of the show, although I was going to have the show regardless of what the results were tonight with the Dodgers against the Arizona Diamondbacks, it did end differently than I thought it would. Uh, Yamamoto pitched an absolute gem tonight. Went 7 innings, only allowed one hit, had a 1-0 lead. Again, another game where run support was lacking. Much kind of similar to how we watched Kershaw probably between 2010, 2016. I'd say that was probably the norm. As soon as the Dodgers would get one run, we knew that that Kershaw would close it out usually. However, it's a different ball game in today's baseball game. No matter how good your pitchers are, they're not going to go the distance. No matter how good your bullpen is, you're only one home run away from blowing the game, and that's exactly what happened tonight. So I'll get to the beginning of this to kind of set up the ending for everyone in case not everyone saw the game, but maybe got the tail end of the game. Yoshinobu Yamamoto is obviously the one right now in LA for the Dodgers and was able to stifle the Arizona Diamondbacks bats, which have been absolutely going nuts the last really 2 weeks that they've played Arizona, especially these last two games. And he was able to take a no-hitter through 7, and then eventually Gurriel hit a double. I think actually it was a single to the wall, and then there was a wild pitch, and then what ended up happening after that was, well, he got out of the inning. I'm sorry. Let me get. He gets out of the 7th inning, and it only allowed one hit, and there was nothing else after that. It was a 1-0 game, and then the Dodgers brought in Vesia, did his business, got Kasperius in there with bases loaded. Could have been a disaster situation, and Kasperius ends up striking him out. And then Dodgers get close in the next inning to maybe add an insurance run, couldn't get Ohtani in. And then the 9th inning, thinking, well, it's been 8 games since tonight, before tonight, that Tanner Scott had allowed even a hit. And, of course, ended up allowing a hit to Moreno. And then ended up tying the game going into the bottom of the 9th. Bottom of the 9th, Kike strikes out with 2 on. Could have closed the game there with a base hit or any kind of hit. But then they go into the 10th, and Mr. Corbin, I just call him Mr. Corbin, ends up hitting a 2-run homer with the phantom runner at second. And at this point, they're up 3-1, and it's deja vu all over again, to quote the great Yogi Berra. And then gets closed out at 3-1, and then goes into the bottom of the 10th. And I was not worried, believe it or not. I actually was not worried, because the Dodgers have actually made a habit of doing this before, and it turned out to be exactly what kind of my feeling was. So you had Kike at second due to the fact that he was the last batter in the previous inning, and then Edman, who seems to love the clutch lately, and thank God he does. Ends up hitting a double in the opposite field, gets Kike in, gets second. So one of my favorite plays, especially in. Hey, Craig, how you doing, bud? Sorry I couldn't be on the feed today. Rafa, whenever Rafa's at the game, he kind of tells us the future, and I can't get excited about plays if I already know what's coming. But speaking of going to the games, I will be at the game tomorrow, so I'll be the guy doing that to everybody. Although I don't know if I'll be playing live the whole time, but we'll definitely have a live feed there if somebody's looking for it. I will be there tomorrow night to watch my first Dodger game of 2025 before I probably go watch at least a couple games of the Yankees at the end of the month when the Yankees are in town. And in the bottom of the 10th, the intentional walks of death. That's probably what we should be calling this, the intentional walks of death. They walk Ohtani with Edman on second. And, of course, the first thing I'm thinking is Mookie is going to smack this and get this thing done, right? Well, ends up not going that way. He ends up popping it up in deep center, and Edman tags up and gets the third. So now you have Ohtani at first, and then you have Edman at third with Freddie Freeman at bat, who right now is the batting leader in the NL. And it doesn't look like he's slowing down. He had already had 2 doubles in the game. So we, as in Dodger fans that I've been talking to, felt pretty comfortable that Freddie was probably going to finish this off. And then Ohtani steals second. And then they decide to walk Freddie, load the bases up for Will Smith. Will Smith then doesn't get anything out, strikes out, and then well, actually, hold on. Did I get that right, guys? I totally went blank on that. What did Will Smith do? He got out, right? There's a strikeout. Oh, lost my mind here. Hold on, let me check something real quick, guys. Let's see here. Play by play. God, I had a whole script here in my head. Let's see, where was it? Smith walked. Where did I mess up? Was it Pajes that flied out? No, that was the 9th. Sorry. So Edman doubled. Ohtani intentionally walked. Betts flied out. Edman to third. Freeman intentionally walked. Smith hit by pitch. That's what it was. Smith got hit by a pitch and tied the game. And then now you have Max Muncy, who all he needs is just to get one under him and get it out there. And he ended up doing that. And Ohtani tags up and has the winning run. So, yeah, it was an eventful night. And, Rafa, congratulations on being at a game that ends in a walk-off. Those are always special games whenever you can do that. I think the last one I went to was Beatty. Beatty hit a game-winning home run in Dodger Stadium to win the game. But it was a nice. It almost was like losing something, like losing your keys or losing your phone, and then the feeling that you get when you find them was almost like it was worth losing those things just to have the euphoria of finding them. So for me, anyways, watching them totally destroy. I would have preferred to just finish the game 1-0, obviously, because I wanted Yamamoto to get the win. But the way it played out, what it did was it showed that their resilience is still there, and they were able to kind of maybe jumpstart their maybe next run here, get out of this little funk that they had. And sometimes that might be a blessing in disguise. So I'd like to think that tomorrow maybe I can get there and add some more good luck on the team so that maybe they can blow them out at least tomorrow and tie the series at the very least, when they were staring down at almost a 3-0 series with the Diamondbacks going into a 4th game and then possibly losing back-to-back series and sweeps against the Angels and the D-backs. So now they don't have to worry about getting swept, but it is going to be important to win tomorrow so they can at least tie the series. Smith got hit. Yeah, I totally blanked on that. I don't know why. Got hit in the elbow. And then Muncy hit the pop-up in center field, and Ohtani scored on the tag. So tomorrow we'll cross our fingers and hope that they can tie the series up. But I did want to discuss a few things about kind of what's been going on with the Dodgers since I haven't had a show here in about 4 or 5 days. The Dodgers are hitting a little bit of a mental slump, I think. A lot of it also has to do with my feelings on this, and I can't get it out of my head on what, where, and why with just sports in general. And I'm going to get into this the softies, the softy. It's always revolving around the softy part of society, the softy part of sports, and how everybody and everyone is injured, except for Freddie Freeman, except for Ohtani, knock on wood, except for Mookie Betts, and how delicate that these guys are kind of keeping things. And for me, I'm looking for greatness, and I'm kind of on the fence in that I understand you're trying to preserve. I understand that the big picture is there, but my view also is always about a mentality that's similar to a Freddie Freeman. Freddie Freeman spends 90 minutes before every game trying to heal that ankle of his that's still messed up, and he's balling, right? And my instincts are always about do what these guys are doing, have the whole team doing what they're doing, and have management think the same way. But it just doesn't seem like that's the kind of world we live in anymore. But I need to mention it because I can't help it. I got to be honest, and I would prefer them to go all out because I want that mentality. I want that mentality of we're the best game in and game out. I know it might be a Kobe Bryant mentality, might be a Michael Jordan mentality that's unrealistic in this day and age, but I can't get out of it. I don't know. My brain can't get out of it. But they did. They stayed resilient tonight, and they won the game, which ultimately is all that matters. They won the game, and Yamamoto pitched absolutely brilliantly. I don't know where his record will stay by the end of the year. It's too bad because I think there was a couple wins there that he lost due to bad bullpens. That kind of are we going to look at maybe Yamamoto finishing? If he can get maybe 15 to 16 wins, I don't know if that's going to be possible with how they're giving him support, but maybe something can flip somewhere. But let's say he wins, I don't know, 13 before it's all said and done, and he loses 4 or 5. If he's sitting at an ERA of 2 or 1.9, something like that, it's very likely that this campaign might end up being a Cy Young year for Yamamoto because he's been absolutely great. He's only had one bad outing, and even that one bad outing was really one bad pitch that he made. That was a grand slam against this team, and but other than that, I think he's pitched as well as he can. And he went 110 tonight. I haven't seen 110 by a Dodger pitcher in a while, so I think Flaherty was close to 110. I think he went 109 or something, but last year. But very happy with the win. Very happy with the way they won. Dependent, considering that it was at the expense of Yamamoto getting a win, but these things again can jumpstart a run, and I'm hoping they can do that. Let me get to some of your guys' comments here. Intel, where are you? Effing Dodgers. I'm in Vegas and needed them to win by 2. See, you would have lost either way. But again, I don't know why the Dodgers don't like to score runs when Yamamoto's at the mound. I don't know. It's just one of those things. Hopefully they can get out of that funk. If you'll listen to 570 Minutes live transistor radio, I know that Jeff listens on the radio due to nostalgia. I've never been a radio listener unless I absolutely have to. I'm a visual guy. I prefer to watch the games. I don't get all nostalgic. And maybe that's because I grew up at a time where I didn't really listen to the radio because I wasn't local. I wasn't there to listen to Vin Scully or listen to Chick Hearn. It wasn't until I got to Southern California in 1996 before I even was able to watch the Lakers and the Dodgers on a daily. And even then was tough being in San Diego because they weren't always showing the Dodger games or the Laker games when they're on the road. I'd have to go to a restaurant and usually watch them. Okay, let's see here. Got hit. No starting pitching and relievers have been shaky. Yeah, the relievers. I don't know if it's they've been taxed. There's some validity to that. But then again, I feel like Tanner Scott has pitched a couple times in the last 2 weeks. So is it really about that? At least with him, I don't know. I don't know how to assess that. At least not for right now. They want to get paid and sit out because they broke their nail. I think it's more about management that does this. Honest to God, man. Roberts is a baby. Yeah, it's just. I got to look at what other teams are doing. I know Jeff said that they're doing it all over, but it feels like it's only the Dodgers, at least for me. Wire 90 to listen to radio. I can't. I don't know what that means, Juan. I have to reiterate that with something else. But tomorrow I will be at the game. I have some good tickets. I'll be going with my cousin and his kid. So I'll be talking Dodger baseball on our feed on the playback. For those of you who don't know about it, first time here, go ahead and watch the board. Juan, can you please put the link for our playback so that the boys can know and the girls can know where to go for the live feed. Live feed is very clear, very concise. Playback, I think, has fixed a lot of their bugs. There was some issues with audio for what a year or so with that place. And today I was muting and unmuting, and I didn't have an issue. I think it was the first time haven't had that issue in a while or ever. Conforto had his usual night, ground out, strikeout. Now, the thing with Conforto is not only is he going out, but he is grounding or popping up to the second baseman. Like, I mean, it's like clockwork. I don't know what he's doing. I really don't know. Maybe he needs to stop swinging at the inside pitch and just hit at the opposite field. Get something out of your mind a little bit, man. I have no idea how this continues to happen over and over again. Change your stance, do something. But I don't care. I heard that Roberts is going to stick with him for the foreseeable future. I don't know if that's a kiss of death, but I'm going to say this. If he continues to play like this for another 2 or 3 weeks, I'm sorry, he's got to sit. And you got to put Edman at center. You got to put Pais at left, put Teo at right, and then, of course, you got Kim at second and everyone else doing their thing. That has to be the way to go. You can't have a pitcher batting, which is what he is right now. Somebody who's batting 170. You might as well have kept Chris Taylor. At least, he'll go out with a swing, something with a strikeout, something with some flair, or keep Barnes. Keep Barnes. He was actually hitting well this year. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with Conforto. I thought he was kind of breaking out of the slump a little bit. I know Max is slowly kind of getting back into it. The issue with Max recently is he hasn't been doing well on the field. He's been overthrowing some throws here and there. But I kind of give him a little bit of a break on that because he's not really a third baseman in a lot of ways. So, I'm crossing my fingers that tomorrow that Roberts puts that lineup I just said to use. Put Edman at center, Teo right, Pahais left, and let Kim play second, and just sit Conforto. And I don't know what to do. I don't know I don't know what to do with that guy. I don't know what to do with. I don't know if he's going to get out of his slump. I just don't know. It's a question mark at this point. So with that, we'll see what happens. So. Looking at the standings right now, the Padres are in a really, really bad. If you think the Dodgers were bad the last few games, the Padres have lost 4 in a row, and they are looking now at a game and a half out of first. San Francisco won by a run tonight. They're a game back. And, of course, the Arizona Diamondbacks lost the game against the Dodgers tonight. So the Dodgers are still up top of the West. And that might play also a little bit of why they might be kind of scaling back a little bit. They're like, look, we'll just, as long as we got the division kind of in our grasp, we'll be fine. But again, I can't, my brain just doesn't work that way. Let's see. Yeah, Padres don't win on the road. But I also think that when Merrill and Machado or Tatis don't hit, no one else hits. That just seems to be the personality of that team. Let's see. Let's get these guys tell us thank you for that. TV is tape delayed. Radio is live. Yeah. I kind of understand that concept, but I want to see it. I want to see the hits, and a lot of times I'm usually just the feed actually on playback has been almost identical to my feed. So I don't really have too much of a problem there. The problem I had during the year was the Laker games, man. If there was a game on TNT, playback had it up by 5-10 seconds. It was really hard to watch basketball on playback this last 6 months. But with baseball, it seems to be online, so I don't usually, or behind a little bit, which means I control the DVR on my TV so that it slows down. Yeah, we're gonna have. We have NBA, where we have baseball. NFL's coming, and I have some things to say about the NFL. The news that came out about the Olympics and kind of coincides with what we're talking about in terms of the softies of our era, about what the NFL has agreed to allow the players to do when the Olympics come to LA. Yes, your channel is good. Thank you, Craig. It's been clean, and again, I can't help but thank Sports Baby for managing it. I haven't had to manage it. Thank God for Sports Baby doing it. My schedule is very, very weird. I'm all over the place, and I could be moving on a snap. So it is what it is. But I'm glad I have people around me that are helping me. Chris, my guy, what's up, brother? Thank you for being here tonight. Anybody who's planning on going to the game tomorrow, I will be there. So if there's anybody out there that's going, let me know. I'll meet you guys there. Chris and I met each other at spring training for the White Sox game, and man, we drank. And again, I want to thank Chris. I owe him a dinner for him and his wife, and drinks when I get back to Arizona, either at a game, which I think the next games in Arizona aren't until September, and I am thinking about possibly going there. And then, of course, when we have spring training next year, we're definitely going to live it up, and hopefully Jeff can make it this time. I know he had some family stuff that kind of kept him back. It's only way to go, man. Again, we want to be celebrating in spring training next year with a back-to-back championship, and if the Dodgers continue to have the mettle that they had here at the end of the game, and winning a game that normally, like in these scenarios, are going to be losses. I guess maybe my overreactions, which it's not really an overreaction, actually, that I say it. It's just my body doesn't it's not adjusting to this era of mentality, and I can't. I gotta do what I do, and winning is important. Winning, and I don't want these guys to get out of that mindset where they're not supposed to go get the best record in the majors. They have to get the best record in the majors so they can guarantee themselves 3 series where they start in LA the first 2 games. That is key. That is important. I'm sure they can probably win a series without doing that, but my preference is to win game 1, which is what they did in each of. Well, actually, they winning game 1 in each of the series last year was an enormous help. They lost the second game in both the NLDS and NLCS, but they ended up, of course, winning out those games pretty convincingly once they started to turn up the volume. And then the World Series went the way it did because they had all the momentum and they were the better team. What's up, Best League? Good to have you here, brother. I think most Dodger fans still feel we're going back to back. I haven't had any feeling that they wouldn't, honestly, even with all the tension that I've had with them kind of not really pushing a little bit. But I think what I'm waiting on now is I'm waiting on, can they solve some of these issues that they've had with certain players? Guys like Conforto. Is Rushing going to play more? I think he's going to play a couple games a week, which is going to keep Will Smith fresh. That's going to be that. I'm okay with that. When you're a catcher, that's a whole different ball game. Pardon the pun. You want to make sure he's fresh for the end of the year. That is for sure. That is 100%. I'm with that. And a lot of the reasons why Rushing was brought up is because Rushing isn't going to be an issue or a liability at the plate. Also, Rushing can throw guys out, and Barnes was kind of struggling with that. That was kind of the one thing that I think might have been the turning point. And it was nice seeing Rushing throw a runner out the other day when he was catching. Those type of things matter when the seasons go on. You can win games getting guys out at second. Perfection. I don't know necessarily if it's perfection. It's more focus. It's a focus. It's the focus of We're the LA Dodgers. We have the best assembled team here, and we are going to come and ruin you. They're not going to win every game, but I don't like quitting. I don't like going, well, we're going to scale back. It's just hard. It's hard for me to go with that mentality. I can't comprehend it. 2017, when the Lakers had to lose games so that they could have a better chance of getting a high draft pick, I understood the concept. And excuse me, and it's the same as sort of what they're doing here, except it's tailored towards winning. But I can't. Losing is not something my body and my mind can handle. I don't like losing. I'm a bad loser. I don't like losing. I don't like giving games away. I just don't like it. I never will. This is what it is. So Dodgers win tonight 4-3 in extra innings. Hopefully they get to tie the series tomorrow. I will be there tomorrow, and we'll cross our fingers to see if they can gain some momentum here by maybe blowing them out tomorrow and getting in their good side a little bit before they go meet the Mets or play the Mets in the next series. So I didn't get a chance to see all of the Oklahoma City, Minnesota game, but I did catch enough to where I can have some discussions on what happened. So Anthony Edwards hurt his ankle and was kind of in and out of the lineup. And they actually had a 4-point lead going into the half. And then Oklahoma City went into their second game in a row where they just turned it up in the second half. They came out guns a-blazing. I mean, they completely shut down Minnesota in the third. Ended up taking a 10-point lead to go into the fourth quarter, and then they put their foot on the gas and just pretty much blew out Minnesota. You would have never thought Minnesota was in this game. They were leading with 4. They were leading. They were leading at the half, up 4, and you would have never guessed that in the second half. Let's see. Gerald has arrived. Gerald, how are you?
Good. I just thought you'd let you do your Dodgers stuff because they had a great comeback win. It didn't look good when they were down 3-1 in the 10th, but they came back for the victory. So congrats to all the Dodgers fans out there. But interesting game tonight. I was going back and forth with the guys. I know Brian's a big Randall supporter out there on playback, and we were talking back and forth on it. That first half, Randall kept them in the game. Second half, like you said, they just turned it up. Some really weird decisions by Chris Finch, basically going to all 5 out. They got Gobert off the floor for extended periods of time, which I kind of questioned. And then Kenrich Williams kind of slowed down the momentum for Julius Randle in that third quarter, and they didn't really go back to him as much as they should have. And those turnovers, man, they're killer. They kill you on those turnovers and immediately turn it in on the fast break. Going to try and pull up the stats right now as far as the team stats. So points off of turnovers, 31-10, Joe. 31-10. That's the game right there.
Yeah, it seems like Oklahoma City in Game 7, the winning the way they won, those are a defining moment to possible championship to a championship run. They closed out in my view, the MVP, Denver, who fought tooth and nail against Oklahoma, and lost to a better team, a little bit better team. Maybe not by a lot, but definitely a better team. And the way they won, it can only mean, hey, we're not going to bow out this time. We're not going to be a 1 seed that gets bounced out in the second round again. And then they go into this series, which I have no doubt that they are the better team, and I had no doubt that they were going to win this series. I have full full confidence that they're going to win this series, barring any major injury to Shea Gilgeous or whatever. Another thing that happened in this game is I think Chet Holmgren showed a little bit tonight of what he could be, what he might be. And not there wasn't doubt there. I just didn't know. I didn't know how to gauge it. What
Still
exactly?
plays soft. Still plays a little soft at times, like he did in the first half. But like you said, he. I think the best thing that was said. I think it was Jefferson that said, "Slow down. If he just slows down sometimes instead of tries to rush and put everything up, use his size to his advantage. He's more efficient that way, and I think that worked out in that second half. Somebody put something in his ear at halftime, Joe, and he really looked good in that second half.
I think he needs to bulk up a little bit, get stronger,
Oh yeah, oh
so
absolutely.
that his bones aren't so brittle and he can play down low a little bit. Now I don't know why. Actually I do know why Minnesota went small. I think they were trying to run those guys out. The problem is that Edwards might not have been 100%. Maybe he may have made a difference, but I don't really think so. And Randall is too much of an ISO type guy. He's not necessarily going to be a guy that's going to run the break and go to the hole on a consistent basis. So Fitch try to maybe outsmart himself a little bit, but in the end, I just don't think they're good enough to get by Oklahoma City's defense. I think they're just too stagnant. They're too ISO, and they're even more ISO when you have someone like Gobert in the down low. So I think that's what they were trying to do. I think Fitch was trying to get them to move a little bit more, have Oklahoma City on their heels versus sitting in a half-court defensive set, which they have 5 guys that can guard. All 5 can guard at the same time.
What's up, Raf?
That's rare. Rafa, what's up, baby?
Yeah,
so Rafa was at the game. So
Yeah.
Rafa was at the game. Man, you got back quick at home. Rafa was live on playback. If you guys want to know, like to the T, he's live on playback on our show, and everybody enjoyed the show tonight. I can't do it. I gotta. The suspense needs to be there for me. So when Rafa's there, I usually don't try to chime in because he's going to tell me the results. But I will be there tomorrow, and I will be Rafa tomorrow. And again, I'm hoping that the series gets tied up tomorrow, and hopefully it's a blowout because I think the Dodgers are due a blowout right now for this team. But going back to the Oklahoma City game, I think Oklahoma City should win Game 2. Should probably split Minnesota, and I believe they'll win this series in 5. If that's the case, then they're probably going to have a huge break because I believe the Pacers and Knicks series is going to go 7, barring any major injuries. And that is going to be the best series out of the 2. And how this kind of plays out is the storyline wise. It would have been a better story, I think, if it was Minnesota versus the Knicks due to their trade before the season started. The other matchup that might have made sense would have been, I don't know. Actually, I don't know if that's even one that I would even think about either. Oklahoma City's just not box office, are they, Gerald?
No, but I know that JY had a question in there stating that was it as a good team at times great? Are we looking at a dynasty here? I think he was asking you on that question. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. I don't think so, even though everything is pointing towards that, JY. My answer is until they find a second number 2 player to SGA that is consistently at a level that you need him to be, because Williams, as we've seen, has been all over the place in this year's playoffs. I don't think they are going to be a dynasty, but I think they will be a very good team for a long time ago. I've said that for a while now on the channel, that they're going to be a very good team for a long time to come.
Are they banking on Chet Holmgren being the number 2?
I don't think so. I don't think you can. He's going to get better, but I just don't know what his ceiling is right now. Again, you're talking about what you're talking about getting stronger. He has to get stronger. If he gets stronger, Joe, then this is a different conversation because he can be that dominant number 2. But as long as he stays the way he is, Joe, he is still susceptible, I think, to force, to size, to strength, and that will ultimately probably leave him short of where you think, or you and I both think that he can become. He's got to get stronger.
It's a discussion that happens every year. When you look back, let's say no one thought the Toronto Raptors were going to be a dynasty when they won in 2019 because people kind of knew that Kawhi Leonard was leaving. 2020, the Lakers win that series, win the title, and I thought they were going to win at least another one based off of how they played. Then you go a year later, and you have the Milwaukee Bucks who finally got over the threshold. There was some talk where maybe they might have a run now with Giannis winning. Didn't turn out that way. 2022, you had Golden State. I didn't hear a lot of chatter about them having a continued run. I don't remember it. It might have been out there, but I don't remember hearing anything. 2023, Denver winning it. Denver winning it in the fashion that they wanted, how dominant they were against the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals, and how dominant they were against Miami in the finals. That one had a little bit of merit because you had a 2-time MVP at that point, who should have won the MVP that year, in my view, who just beat the Lakers and beat the Miami Heat, whom were the participants not too long before then in the finals. And they have Jamal Murray, who is, you can say, a safe number 2. Michael Porter Jr., who's a safe 3. And you had Aaron Gordon, who's a safe 4. Why wouldn't these guys go back-to-back? They have the talent. They're young. I thought they probably had another title in them, probably maybe even a back-to-back or maybe 2 out of 3, but that hasn't been the case. They lost 2 series the last 2 years in 7 when they had shots of winning Game 7. One was better than the other, but they had a shot. Boston. I honestly, I know they were playing well this year when they were all right, but it still went back with Boston in that, are they going to have an easy path where they win again? Because even last year they had no resistance last year. They played 3 cupcakes in the East, and then they played the ultimate cupcake in the West because they were done. The cupcake was burnt. And it was just, and I'm not downgrading their title, but it wasn't there wasn't really a challenge. And the only reason why you still look at that year as a big accomplishment, again, you win a championship, it's a big accomplishment, is they were pretty dominant the whole year. I think they won 67 games last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it was, 67. That's a lot of games in a regular season. So, but dynasty for Oklahoma City, yeah, I don't know about that. But they're set up for it. They're set up for
everything points towards it, Joe. I just don't think that it will happen. Circumstance usually will tell you and dictate that it's just so hard for one franchise to continue that kind of level of success.
I think if I had to pick, I think I still would have taken Denver as a budding multiple title winning team. The mystery with the Oklahoma City Thunder is, what is Presti going to do with all those assets? Is he going to continue to draft players, or is he going to get one more guy, even if they win? In my view, I think they should go after one more guy, regardless if they win or lose. If they lose, then they have to go get the second guy. And I'm on record saying they got to call Milwaukee immediately if they don't win it this year and say, what do you want for Giannis? And use all those assets, because Milwaukee is going to want draft picks and one serviceable player, 1 or 2 serviceable players, and they have those. But if they win it all, maybe they don't go after Giannis, but they go after someone that's really going to be like that guy, or like, ooh, if he stays healthy the whole year, this is great. Who is that? Who is that guy? Is there a perimeter player that they can go after? Is there someone out there that isn't too old that would be perfect to play? I'm trying to think, who would that be? Who's kind of teetering right now? Who's going to be a free agent? Would they bring back James Harden? You don't think James Harden would play well with this team? Actually, he'd infect the team probably. That's why you don't want to have him there.
No, he doesn't play the style that they play. I don't think it'd be very conducive unless he comes off the bench, which he did before. Wouldn't that be ironic if they ask him to come off? If they get him and they ask him to come off the bench, that would be hilarious.
It would be full circle, and I think that would be his best spot. Ironic. The irony in that is too funny, because they would actually be a pretty damn good team if he'd probably win 6th man of the year.
Yes,
he'd probably win 6th man of the year if he did that.
That's a good suggestion, Best League. Devin Booker would be probably someone that could fit very well in an OKC format.
Don't you think that kind of isn't that kind of the same position Shai Gilgeous is, though? Do you really want that?
Shai Gilgeous is more of a scorer.
Yeah, and that's what Booker is. I mean, Booker's a shooter,
but he's also he's had to become a playmaker in Phoenix by force.
I haven't heard anything about Booker wanting to leave Phoenix. I think he wants to stay in Phoenix, from what I'm seeing.
Well, unfortunately, their finances may dictate otherwise, Joe, and they're not going to get a big haul back for a 37-year-old Kevin Durant. Whoever wants to trade for KD should not have to offer a lot. It's just that simple. He's very costly. He's very old, but he can still score. But yeah, if Houston wants him, San Antonio, or whoever, they shouldn't have to pay a whole lot for him. So yeah, if you want, I mean, and Phoenix, because it's in the second tier, can't even do a whole lot as far as trades are concerned. Remember, they only can trade a 1-for-1. They can't do multiple.
And they can't add any draft picks in there too. Yeah, I think they're stuck. I don't think they can do anything.
And their draft pick is frozen, like in the 2030. See, with Boston and Phoenix right now, I believe they're 2031 or 32. Draft pick first round draft pick is frozen because they are repeating in the second tax apron as of now. So
yeah, no, the audience, the fans of the NBA and their teams are going to get a dose of how bad this CBA is this summer. There'll be a lot of activity. I'm predicting a lot of activity, a lot of trades because of it, but it's going to be even more difficult. They essentially added a hard cap with the second apron. It's essentially a hard cap. Not only a hard cap, but they've made it virtually impossible for you to improve your team.
Yeah.
So how do you create a dynasty? They're forcing teams to draft their players, and they're forcing teams to sign their own players enough to where when they finally reach the threshold, they still have to let certain guys go. I think they're trying to get rid of trades, which is just still mind-boggling to me. I don't know. Bloodhound, Joe, are you worried about the Dodgers pitching in the long run this season? The offense has been great. The thing is, I'm not worried. I'm more worried about the mentality, and I'm hearing a little bit of the fact that they're just babying these guys. So looking at the pitchers, right? We got Snell, Glasnow, Yamamoto, Roki Sasaki, soon Ohtani. You have Gosselin, and you have May, and then you have Kershaw. You have 8 starters. Kasperius is like your 9th starter. Knack is like your 10th starter. But Knack is not going to be a guy that's going to be starting in the playoffs. Kasperius isn't necessarily going to be a guy that's going to start in the playoffs. He maybe unless the 8 of those guys are out and you go 2.5 like you did last year, Kasperius isn't going to be. He's going to be the middle guy. He's going to be the guy that pitches if, let's say, Glasnow can't get out of the second inning, something like that, or anybody gets out of the second inning. Then you'll see Kasperius take up some time so they can preserve whoever's left. My view on this, the Dodgers really only need 3 solid starting pitchers in the playoffs. I prefer 4, but they only need 3. Kershaw's likely not going to be there in my view. Unless Dustin May really goes up to another level, I don't see him being the guy. Don't be surprised if Gosselin is one of the 3, because he does 2 things very, very, very well. There's confidence on the mound, and he's really good at getting out of jams. And those are things that are going to be crucial in playoff time, right? So now you got Gosselin. Is Roki going to be the guy that's going to be there? Or are they going to kind of baby him a little bit, not put too much pressure on him? That's up in the air. I don't know how that's going to play out. But then you got Yamamoto, you got Glasnow, and you got Snell. Glasnow, I mean, you're talking about someone who's just struggling to make it through even a month in, let alone an entire season. So based off his history, I'm not going to depend on Glasnow. I am going to depend on Snell. I'm going to depend on Yamamoto, and I'm going to depend on Gosselin at this moment. Roki might be too young. Maybe he'll improve. I don't know. We saw that happen with Yamamoto. He was kind of struggling at the beginning to kind of get used to the new ball, get used to the new league, better players, obviously, not by much, but MLB is a higher league than to the Japanese league. Japanese league is like quadruple A. That's what they called it, and I think that's an accurate assessment. Quadruple A. So they have some room there. Oh, and by the way, I haven't mentioned Ohtani. What does Ohtani do? Is Ohtani going to be the 4th guy? Are they going to have Ohtani be the floater? Or are they going to pitch Ohtani depending on matchups? Wait for that. That's almost 100% is what's going to happen. So they're going to have, ideally, what I'd love to have is I'd like to have them at least have 4 guys that are healthy, focused, and you're confident in. Gosselin, Yamamoto, Snell, and Ohtani. And then they will pitch those guys according to the matchups, which is just not something that we've really seen, right? Much like how we saw them bullpen their way into a World Series title. That is probably how this plays out. I don't know if Dustin May is going to be a relief pitcher. I don't know if Kershaw is going to be a relief pitcher. I don't really know what's going to happen there. I don't think they can do that just because you can only hold 25 guys in the on a roster in the playoffs. I'm sorry, 26. So it's going to be an interesting thing down the road. But right now I'm trying to gauge what's going on. Trying to gauge on how the mentality of this team is going to kind of continue to go where they need to go. And I'd like for them to go on at least a 10 or 12 game winning streak so that they can kind of get themselves a little bit of distance and enjoy the regular season a little bit. Because that's another thing is I like to enjoy the regular season in baseball probably more than I do in any other sport, just because it's one of those relaxing things. You're sitting there, you're doing work and you listen to the game. Sometimes we're doing playback or I'm doing playback, whatever. I just want to enjoy the games and not have to be tense and why aren't they scoring for Yamamoto? But the trades and all that, who's going to be DFA'd next? As of right now, I haven't had any desire to support any major trades. If I had a say in it, as of right now, it would obviously change if things weren't going right. But I don't think the Dodgers assembled this team to have midseason trades. I just don't think that's what they did this for. And I don't want them to. I want them to go with what they have. I believe they have a very, 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 very stacked team. And I believe they should go all the way with it. The only thing is this Conforto thing needs to be figured out probably within the next 2 to 3 weeks. If he is not hitting if he keeps grounding to the goddamn second baseman 3 times out of 4 at bats, so you got to pull that guy out. You just can't. I mean, it seems like this team can never ever get away from having. You get rid of Chris Taylor, and you have a Chris Taylor again on the team, guy that you're paying $17 million for. So that's kind of where I stand on that. And Tanner Scott's and all these guys, Banda's not having a good season so far. Well, I shouldn't say Tanner Scott isn't having a good season, but he's kind of let go of a few things here and there. But I think Tanner will be all right. Banda, the cool thing is guys like Dreyer, guys like Sauer, guys that we weren't expecting to come into this season and be as effective as they have been, those have kind of made up for maybe the regulars that haven't done well. So I'm not too worried about the bullpen. I think the bullpen will be fine. Plus, you're going to have Kopech coming back. You're going to have Bazooka coming back. You'll have Phillips coming back. Not really too worried about the end result there. I think everybody will be fine once they get to the end. Let's see. I got to get some of these comments here, G. Gerald pointed out.
There was one earlier, though, that Best League was mentioning. Should the Lakers try to buy one of Brooklyn's 4 first-round draft picks? I was thinking about the other day on a drive, and I was thinking, it's a possibility. I mean, the Lakers have enough pick swaps that Brooklyn could be interested in one of those later picks, if Maxine Ronald was available, or Yaxel Lendenborg. Those are some pretty big guys with some talent. Wouldn't mind. Let's just say I wouldn't mind, Joe.
But why would OKC do that?
No, Brooklyn.
Oh, Brooklyn. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Brooklyn, yeah, because they're Brooklyn. But they have 4 first-round draft picks. The thing is, you got to remember, when you're also when you have first-round draft picks, yes, they do have a lot of cap flexibility. They have more cap flexibility this offseason than anyone. But if you bring in 4 first-round draft picks, remember, you've got them all on first-round, guaranteed first-round contracts going forward, which looks fine now when you have $40 million in cap space. But what if you want to build your team a little bit quicker? Those first-round draft picks, if they don't all pan out, kind of take up some space. Just to say that. So maybe they would be interested in selling one of those picks off.
What would that cost?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we have up to 5 pick swaps. Maybe some interest there on that. A couple pick swaps.
My view is if they purchase a first-round pick, it's likely going to be to use that for a bigger trade.
Okay.
I don't think this team is looking to get into another Dalton Connect setup with a rookie and depending on a rookie. I believe if that does happen, and I'm not familiar with the CBA enough to know what the parameters are on purchasing first-round picks. I know they can't do it if they're over the second apron. Is that correct?
Yes, they can.
But they can do it if they're in the first.
Yes,
that's
something.
Correct. Yeah, that's
they have a little bit more flexibility if they're in the first.
So this goes back to what we were talking about on the Lakers fast break. The Lakers will need a third party to probably make whatever trade they need to work. They need that third team, and maybe that's the broker. They might send that first pick. So for those of you who are in dire need of a Kessler trade, maybe that might be it. Maybe 2 first-round picks for Kessler and whatever fillers are in there, maybe another second-round pick, maybe a couple swaps. You go get someone like Kessler, especially, and you don't have to lose your depth with that because Kessler's only making, $3.5 million?
Yes.
My only question to you, Gerald, and I think I might have asked you this, and I think you answered it, but I'm trying to comprehend this. Why would Danny Ainge trade Kessler? Just to get more picks after what happened this year to him?
Well,
this
basically,
This year was an absolute like I don't think he's lost this bad in a lot of things. That trade.
Well, he's not going to win anytime soon, Joe. I mean, if Lauri Markkanen is not the franchise player you build around. Let's just be blunt. Also, this team in a loaded Western Conference is not going to gain much ground, even if they went all in this summer on tried to do something, Joe. They can't. So pretty much they're going to tank for next year, which is a deeper draft than this year. There are several players that might be, I don't want to say Cooper Flag level, but close to that, if you know what I'm saying. There's actually 3, 4, or 5, depending on who you talk to, that are really players that are really looking like they're going to be a really good player in the league. So next year's draft, plus the back end of the draft, should be a lot more flowing, plus free agency will be a lot better next year. The summer of 2026, for altogether different reasons, may be a mercurial point in the time frame of the NBA because of the free agency and the fact that the draft is a little bit better than this year's draft as well. So I think that if you're Utah, I think you do need to go in the tank mode. It depends. Do you want to keep Kessler? Do you see him as a foundational piece? If you do, you're about 1 or 2 years away, Joe, from having to go ahead and commit to a long-term payment plan for him, because his second contract or an extension comes due. I believe you can offer him an extension next year as well, in the summer of 2026. So if you want to commit to him, that's fine. But does Danny think he's going to be the center that they can key everything around? If they don't, then you might want to look for different options. And Rob gave a very, you and I both said at the time, it was a very interesting, intriguing, and pretty darn good haul to Charlotte. Charlotte, they were so pissed off about the trade. That's because they got a good haul for Mark Williams. And if the Lakers could offer something similar, maybe Danny would think about it.
For sure, 2 first-round picks. It's going to be hard to pass that for Kessler.
Yeah, 2 first-round picks is the deal. I don't know if the Lakers gain one after July 1st. I'm not sure if they do. I know that Golden State gains 2, if I'm not mistaken. So they'll have 3 to work with. I was just listening to a show today that said that they'll have 3 after the 1st of July. I don't know if the Lakers will gain another if that's the case. But if you're something to think about for you guys, if that happens in July and August, the Lakers still have that first. So, it is what it is. But they do have the 5 pick swaps plus 1 first rounder at this point in time. I don't think that's enough to get Kessler. But yeah, again, and you don't have to move players for him. Unless
that's the big part.
Unless Danny is infatuated with Austin Reeves.
That's the big part of it is, can you add to the starting lineup without giving up your depth? The Lakers,
that would be him. That would be because he's had such a small salary.
Correct. If the Lakers want to have a favorite, if they want to be possible favorites to win it next year, they would have to add 2 players, one being a starting center and another perimeter player, without giving up Rui and Austin. That's how I look at it. Unless they used Rui and Austin in a trade for whatever to acquire a legit problem starter for the opposing team, someone who's going to be able to break down a defense, get to the basket, and shoot at the same time. Who that is, I'm still in limbo on what team will have to relinquish talent due to the new setup. There's really no one. I don't see anybody. You got the guys that you have available that are names is okay. How about this? Would Cam Thomas be someone that they can get without having to give up both?
Because he's, I believe, could be a restricted free agent, if I'm not mistaken.
He is restricted.
Yeah. So if Brooklyn wants to move off of Cam, let's put it this way: what would Cam and a first think that if they ask if Brooklyn went on the phone to you and you're Rob Pelinka and say, I want to give up, we're done with Cam Thomas. He scores a lot, but he gives us a lot of headaches and he gets hurt a lot. But he also want to give up a first as well. We got 4 first round picks. Just want to move at this point. What would you be willing to give up for Cam Thomas in the first, Joe?
This is a guy that scores 20. He's a 24-point a game scorer.
You would still need defenders. You still need defenders though, because that's the one thing he's allergic to defense. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or at least he was on Brooklyn, and now that's a bad team, so that's maybe not the best.
I don't know. I saw the Lakers.
He is someone that could get 25.
I saw the Lakers play very, very good defense for about a month after the Luka trade, but so they have the mentality to do it, but I don't think their bodies allowed them to do it anymore.
That's why they need depth. That's why they
need depth. I don't know what there isn't a defender out there that with that kind of skill set on the offense that would. I don't know. I don't see it. Do you see maybe Alexander Walker being a guy that could go up a level?
I do, but we saw little glimpses of that today in today's game. But the Lakers have to shed some salary in order to get that qualifying offer, the MLE qualifying offer, up beyond 5.6. Because 5.6, I think the best you could get would be a Quentin Grimes, that level of player who is still unproven, because of the fact that when he did this, when he scored as well as he scored, he did it on a Philadelphia team that was tanking and going to nowhere. So how much stock do you actually take in that? I think he's actually a pretty good player. So the 5.6 might be something that he might be interested in. As they call him, Nickeil Alexander Walker, is probably going to ask for 12 to 15 is my guess. Maybe even more than that. Maybe up to 20, because he's playing on a playoff team right now. He's playing in front of everyone. He helped Minnesota greatly in the first 2 rounds, so that only increases his value. So he could get, or maybe ask up to 20, because Naz Reid will probably ask for between 20 and 30, you think? So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays us out. But the Lakers have to, if you're talking a little bit bigger game for that MLE, Joe, then you're going to have to raise it beyond 5.6. You're going to have to figure out a way to get it beyond 5.6, which they can do, but they have to make some financial moves to do it. But the Cam Thomas and a first, if you could do that, and even if it's for an Austin, I would think about it. I would think about Cam Thomas. I'd have to see what the money works like for that first, but something to think about, Joe. Just something to think about. Didn't say I'd do it, but it's better than the trades that Laker Tom has been putting out there. Gosh, man, that guy needs help.
I didn't even click. As soon as I heard Porzingis was in there.
4-team trade. The Lakers would get Drew Holiday and Zingas Pingus on it.
That is an absolute monstrosity of a trade. I don't want anything to. I don't even want Porzingis for free.
You don't know what's going on with him.
He is a walking infirmary. Just don't want it. And Drew Holiday played his last important season last year. He was Trevor Ariza for that team last year. Absolutely lethal. His defense, his timely plays, and his offense were perfect. That was Stevens won Executive of the Year last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he earned it on that trade, because that trade actually set them over to win that title that year. That was the perfect X factor. But that's it.
Cam Thomas is a restricted. We started that conversation with it. So
yeah, it'd have to be a sign and trade.
Yeah, it would have to be a sign and trade, because he'd have to, Brooklyn has to tender him an offer, so he then becomes a restricted free agent. And if that's the case, what would it take to work the money in for the Lakers and then bring him over and trade? Would be interesting, Joe, if they could work that out. I mean, would you do something like that? Cam Thomas in a first and something else maybe for Austin Reeves?
It's very difficult for me to look at next year as an opportunity to win a championship unless it's a considerable upgrade.
Okay.
It's got to be a considerable upgrade. If you're going to tell me that we're going to go get Cam Thomas for Austin Reeves, someone who's averaging 20 points a game, Cam Thomas averages 24 points a game, and they both stink on defense, are you just trading just to trade? I think the Lakers would rather stay with continuity at least a little bit.
What if you were to add in, let's say, like a Noah Clowney if the money works well? Day'Ron Sharpe, you couldn't because he's also a restricted free agent.
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably not.
Okay.
I try to squeeze as much as they can to get what they need without giving up. First of all, they got it first and foremost. They got to get a center.
Mm-hmm.
They got to get a legitimate center, and preferably if it is somebody like Kessler, so that money isn't an issue for the trade, then try to make that work as best you can, because you're not only getting a legitimate starting center that's on a very friendly contract, you're also getting someone who's improving.
And we're assuming he opts into the final year, JY. We're assuming LeBron will be here for at least one more year.
I don't think they're going to make a 2022. I don't think that'll ever happen again. That was a just bad thing that happened.
JSJ, that was the 2012 All-Star team. Don't even. I mean, that was like bringing every senior citizen in and saying, "Hey, let's relive the old times." No, don't.
Well, even if he opted out, JY, they still have to have a cap hold for the eventual, God forbid, extension. They can't just drop them, go sign people, and then sign them back on the bird right thing. If teams could do that, it'd be a lot easier to get around that.
I don't think he wants to get cute in his final years with the Lakers
and the Lakers shouldn't be cute either. The Lakers need to really, really sit down with them and make them understand that we would love for you to opt in, and then we can discuss an extension next year depending on the results. But then LeBron being LeBron is going to want to announce his retirement. You know why, Gerald?
Uh-huh.
Because LeBron loves him some LeBron, and he wants the flowers and the candy and the free stuff because he loves himself a lot. So is he going to announce retirement if they do not extend him? And if he doesn't announce that he's retiring, will he retire at the end of next year if they don't win it all? Something to think about. But this should be the first thing they take care of. It's the first thing I'm going to be looking for.
But I did want to tell people, yes, even after the NBA draft combine, and I'm assuming again there's 25 days left for guys to pull out the draft, go back to school because there's big NIL money. I think there's still some people at the end of the draft, or even that might go undrafted, that might be able to help the Lakers. I'm looking at some tape lately on Amari Williams, who's a 7-footer, 260 pounds, out of Kentucky. Was not invited to the draft combine, but to the G League invite camp. And big body and can rebound, somewhat athletic, someone who may have a chance in the league. So look for him as maybe a possibility late in the draft for the Lakers, because they are late in the draft as of now. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Sabonis, best league. Sabonis is making too much money. You would need to essentially trade half your roster to get him.
And you're still your defense.
Even if you got a third team, even if you got a third team in there, I don't see how that would work.
You and I can score layups on them. Yeah, that's not going to help your rim protection at all.
Yeah, I'm ready for Gabe to leave. Gabe is Kendrick Nunn to me. A slightly better Kendrick Nunn. A Miami reject. Learn your lesson, Rob. Do not ever sign another ex-Miami Heat player. Roll with Pat Riley when he doesn't like you.
There's going to be, because the fact there's not a lot of teams with cap space, Joe, there could be some players of note that could be gotten at the minimum of note. So I'll throw a couple by you. I was going to do a show and dedicate a show tonight to this, but I know you said, well, you were going on late because of the Dodgers game and all that. Like a Tyus Jones. What do you think about a Tyus Jones?
It's not enough.
Point guard for $2 million.
I mean, if you can get him for depth reasons, yes, but you can't. The Lakers, if the Lakers have any chance at winning it next year with another year under LeBron, which is, he's not going to get better every year, guys. He's going to get worse, actually. You need somebody that's going to really be able to have. He has to play below 30 minutes a game. There's no other way to go about it anymore. If he consistently plays 36 minutes a game, I don't care how much he wants to play. It's not going to work.
JSJ, do you really want to pay $20 million for Marcus Smart? Because that's how much you're paying next year.
Marcus Smart can't shoot either, and his defense isn't as good anymore.
It is an expiring contract, but yes, I think Washington will probably hold on to that, and he'll probably be waived after the trade deadline. That's $20 million coming off your cap at the end of the year. So.
Best League, I'm glad you brought this up. The answer to this is, if the Lakers do what I hope they can do with LeBron and not let him sign an extension, I noticed I said let him, they can go into next year possibly, especially with their expiring contracts. Rui's an expiring contract. It's pretty clear that Austin Reeves is going to opt out, which makes him an expiring contract. Vincent is going to be an expiring contract. Kleber is an expiring contract. So between all four of those players, you are looking at 32, 43, $54 million that's coming off the books. Do you go after a Paolo, a Triple J? Can you get both? They'd have to clear out probably a little bit more. Salary cap will go up too.
Well, Triple J is about ready to sign a huge.
That would be an interesting. No, yeah, he's going to sign an extension, and he's going to get paid. Is he getting the Supermax?
I think he will be if he gets on the third
team. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We should sign Precious Achiuwa for the minimum. What is his salary? Let me go ahead and take a look at it right now.
I wouldn't mind Paolo with Luka. I think that would actually be a pretty good pairing. But they would need let's say
free agent,
they get Kessler this summer without giving up their depth, and then next year keep Austin Reeves, let Rui go, and then maybe sign Paolo. Obviously, LeBron being gone. Do you have a team that makes sense with somebody like Paolo? Do you see Paolo being a legit number 2 on a title team?
I do. Okay. I actually do.
If that's the case,
I think he plays with force, energy, and he is rounding out his skills, Joe.
Okay, great. So if that's the case, then there's something there. There's something there. But he would have to not take the extension. His qualifying offer is after 2026, right?
Yeah.
Will he want to get paid a bunch of money now? They can sign him now, can't they? Or tomorrow, next year for the max?
Yep.
It's a lot of details, man. I got to sit down. There's a lot of details I got to sit down and just kind of absorb and work it around. The ESPN trade machine it's difficult to work the numbers just because you can't add any draft picks.
No, but it tells you about their contracts. If you don't want to go to Sport Track, then one of the easiest ways to do it is look up their salary and how many years left is on the NBA trade machine on ESPN. If you don't want to go to Sport Track is the best place to go. And yeah, he has one more year. Marcus Smart does at 21 million. But again, I think Washington is going to keep that, and he'll be waived after the trade deadline, and he'll be out there as a buyout pickup guy. That's my guess.
D'Angelo Russell is a free agent.
Yes, he is.
Russell Westbrook will be a free agent. Chris Paul will be a free agent. Luke Kennard will be a free agent.
Luke Kennard might be interested.
Dude, half the free agents this year are all ex-Lakers. It's funny.
Thomas Bryant will be a free agent.
It says Spencer Dinwiddie will be a free agent.
He does have a player. Westbrook does have a player option for next year, to let you know. So he may pick it up for $3 million. I don't know. We'll see.
Steven Adams is a free agent. Maybe there's something there.
Maybe. But he plays so much better if you've got a big alongside him.
Yeah. So maybe you get him as a free agent, and then you trade for Kessler. Now you have a front line that makes sense a little bit.
Duncan Robinson will be a free agent if you're
Duncan Robinson. Brook Lopez will be a free agent.
Brook Lopez will be 37.
Yeah, JY, the Lakers need one really good perimeter athletic guard or small forward.
Hear me out on this one, Joe. Tell me what you guys, if he is healthy sometime before the end of the year, I don't think he'll be ready by camp. But let's just say DeAnthony Melton might be available for the minimum. He was a key reason why Golden State got off to that huge start with his defense and his willingness to hit the three. Would you be interested in him? Now, he is recovering from a ACL injury. So,
is he going to be the same player?
I don't know. That's the question you have.
Will he play for the minimum?
20. He has to play for the minimum at this point. I mean, he was making about 10 million or so, but at this point,
if he's playing for the minimum, then you can risk.
He is a risk, but that's one I'd take. It's one I'd take because if it works out, again, before the injury, he was playing really at a high level for Golden State.
Lakers have to cover their two biggest needs, and then they can form the roster according to those guys, because that's what needs to happen. They need to make sure that they have a legitimate starting center and possibly a perimeter player without giving up too many of their assets, too much of their depth, however that plays out. That's going to be the key.
He is going to be a free agent, Gary Payton II, but he'll be 33 next year. I don't know. Kind of risky on that one.
I don't. Best league
for the minimum.
I don't think the Lakers have enough money to pay Turner as a free agent. They don't actually, because he's going to demand. He's going to demand
probably 40,
20 and 30 million per year at the very least.
I think he'll ask and get more.
Yeah, if he gets more, it's even if it was 20, they have no shot. Not even 15. No. Gafford, I would say there's no chance that Dallas is going to trade with the Lakers anytime soon, unless it's a complete fleece job. They trade PJ Washington for.
Please stop all the. I mean, we see it I saw it in the last episode of the Fast Break. You guys just stop with the Dallas trades. Stop with the Dallas trades, because they will just literally kill Nico Harrison. They'll just firebomb his car or something if he does another trade with the Lakers.
I don't think he cares.
Then there you go.
I don't think he cares. And at this point, what difference does it make? They're getting Cooper Flag.
Yeah.
And everyone thinks it's rigged. So Harrison is in an okay spot at this point. They get a guy is their future for the next 10, 15 years at least from where we're sitting now.
Yeah, Kelly Oubre, he just doesn't shoot. He shoots a lot, but he doesn't shoot efficiently. He had a kind of a down season from beyond the arc this season. And like you said, he has a player option, JSJ.
It's going to be a very interesting summer. There's going to be a lot of trades. There's going to be a lot of players that are going to want to make sure that they're not going to be anywhere near those thresholds. That's going to be to the advantage of the Lakers because there'll be more multi-team trades so that everybody can get appeased with either draft capital or salaries that they need to move around. I still say watch out for Portland. Portland may send Ayton somewhere so they can.
Oh, they are, and Simons. They would love to get rid of Grant, but Grant has a terrible salary with multiple years left on it. Nobody wants that. They may try to attach him, say, okay, you want Simons, get Grant, or you want Ayton, you get Grant. But those three guys, Joe, they no longer need them. They have 5 players that they need to start and play to develop their young talent next year in Portland. They do not need those 3 players, their top 3 salary players anymore. You look at that roster, and it's like they have no need for all 3 of those guys at this point in time.
Rob's got his chance here to go out with a bang here with hopefully the last year with LeBron. And I believe we'll know. We'll know probably within the first week of July where this team will likely be in the end. When does LeBron have to sign agree to pick up his option?
I believe it's just before July 1st, if I'm not mistaken.
Is it right after the season ends, the second it's over, and then it's the new season, right?
No, I think the season starts at July 1st, financially.
Okay, so financially everything starts on the 1st.
Yeah, because you can't sign draft picks until after the 1st officially.
Don't we hear rumors before that what's going to happen typically, though?
Yes. Oh, yeah, but remember, free agency starts the 1st.
What's your gut tell you, G? What's your gut tell you? Do you think they give him a 1+1 again?
I think he's going to do the 1+. I told you this before. I think he's going to. I think if his knee feels good enough, because remember his knee got the torn meniscus and all that, but that's a month injury to a normal person. If it feels good enough, and Bryce and him have a talk, and Bryce actually looks like he's, if he talks to Bryce and Bryce says, you know what, I'm Audi 5000 after a year. I really think that he is going to piss you off, Joe, and do a 1+1.
Oh, I'm done. I'm done. If that happens, I'm done.
I know. I'm not saying you wouldn't be, and I'm not saying it's wrong.
Yeah, this would be a Dodger channel.
You ask me what I think.
And Steeler channel.
And what I think is that he has full control of the situation going forward, no matter how much everybody out there says, oh, it's Luka's team. It's Luka's team. It should be Luka's team. Absolutely should be Luka's team. But I still go back, as Sean and I always tell you, to that time where he had Jeannie in one arm and Linda Rambus in the other. And he had both in the palm of his hands. He has the Lakers organization, unless you prove to me otherwise, in the palm of his hands. The only time where I saw it slip, Joe, was the Luka trade, where he did not supposedly, and I believe this, that he did not know in advance what was going on with the Luka trade. So maybe there's a hope that the Lakers would do the right thing, and only one more year of LeBron, but I don't have that.
No, Jay.
I don't have.
No, Jay.
I just don't believe that's it.
This would be it until LeBron is gone. I would not support it.
I didn't say I support it either. But you asked me what I think, and I'm thinking on the side of what is the worst case scenario for us, and that is
if they're focused on Father knows best again. No, there's no way I'm going to spend a minute watching any of this stuff until LeBron is off the team. Hell no. Mark and Vari got me back the first time. I was gone. I was heading out. But no. If they go through all this BS to go get another non-NBA player because of LeBron, I'm done. Because I can't sit here and complain and watch still. It's not going to make any sense. It's just not going to happen. No. This time, no one will be able to convince me otherwise.
And to do it in a year, if they draft him in a year where the draft is a lot, at this point in time, the draft looks to be a lot more full of potential role players, positional players throughout the draft at this point in time, then that would be really, really a mistake by the Lakers to fill up. Now you have two players at the back end of your roster that are not two-way players that are filling up that may not ever be able to give you a consistent contribution. Again, you guys have not sold us on Bronny or Bryce being at the level that we need them to be. Maybe Bronny can do it, but I've yet to see. I've yet to see something that's going to say, hey, he's going to be able to be a consistent player off the bench.
It's not going to look good. It's not going to look good. And we need the representation of Luka Doncic to make sure that this doesn't happen. Because there is one thing that could defeat it. That is Luka saying, Luka's people saying, well, if you guys are going to extend LeBron, that means that's another year we have to anticipate a rebuild.
And I sincerely hope that's the case. I sincerely hope that's the case, Joe. That cooler heads will prevail unless LeBron wants to come in at a much cheaper rate, then maybe we can revisit this conversation. But if he does a 1+1 at 50 some odd million a year for both years, yeah, that's.
We wasted 30 seconds talking about some BS.
Well, you asked me what I thought.
To be continued. I wanted to finish the show off with some football here.
Yes, I was going to remind you before you left because you mentioned it.
Yeah, I wasn't going to forget. Because I couldn't help but laugh when I was reading. I saw Troy Vincent, former DB for the Miami Dolphins and the Philadelphia Eagles, talking about the allowance of the NFL, PA, NFL, whatever owners of what we all used to joke about, even though it's not involving the NFL per se, but the fact that they okayed players to play in the Olympics, folks, the Olympics, a sporting event that used to mean something, just like almost everything else these days, something that meant something of greatness now that has become a mockery of everything. What was it? What was it they had in the last Olympics, Gerald?
Breakdancing.
Breakdancing. That's what it was. Breakdancing. Thank you. They had breakdancing. An event called the Olympics. And they had breakdancing so that they can cater to the new generation. Let me tell you something, folks. Fuck the new generation. The new generation are a bunch of fucking slobs. Okay? They can't even dress right. You want these guys you want to cater to these assholes? So, what is the future of football? We might have finally laughed about the two-hand touch or the flag football mentality of the NFL. Here we are, folks. It's here. It arrived. Not in the NFL per se, but it is arrived. They are going to play flag football in the Olympics. I mean, is it they might as well just take their balls and just put it into a box, right? And just set it aside. I'm not saying go play football with pads and helmets. I'm not saying that. But what kind of event, what kind of culture is this where you're going to have an Olympic sport of playing tag with flags? That's all flag football is. It's tag. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment. And you're going to give who plays football in China? Who plays football in Russia? We know damn well this is going to be an American sport playing against what? What, they play football in Mexico? Where? Where do they play football in Mexico? Pardon my ignorance if there is something going on over there.
Mexico City, but that's based off of the fact didn't they have like one of the USFL?
They have flag football in Mexico City.
Uh-huh.
They have flag football in Germany, France. I'm going to have to see that one. I'm going to have to see the facts with an X on that one. Literally, send me the facts because that's how dumb that sounds. NFL is worried about declining high school football. Let me tell you something, Bloodhound. Okay? There is no decline of high school football. I'm around Long Beach Poly. I'm around, hell, my own town has Chaparral, Vista Murrieta. These guys all have Chaparral, which is 5 miles from my house, has, 11 D1 commits already. 11. Football is not declining anywhere. Whoever's telling you that's full of shit. They're not allowing anybody to tackle with their heads anymore. They fixed that. They've fixed it a lot. They've re-educated everyone. People want to still go to school for free. Football does that. Even if you don't go to the NFL, they still want to go to college for free. And they'll pay you now with the NIL. It's actually going to go up, guys. Now they're getting paid in college. This is not going to be a decline. People are going to go play football so they can make money. So the embarrassment is, again, it's what we used to joke about is starting to become real. And whether it's flag football, whether it's social things on what people do now that we used to laugh at, now is apparently real. Putting feminine hygiene products in the male's bathroom. Things like that we used to laugh at when we were kids. And I'm not that old, guys. I'm 47. I was a kid like 20 years ago. So
Xbox, they already did skateboarding. They've done it past 2 Olympics.
At least skateboarding is, you need to be an athlete to be a skateboarder. Give them that. You've got to half pipe that son of a gun. You're doing 900s, 720s, whatever. That is very hard. I skateboarded for a very short amount of time in my life, but that son of a gun it's a hard thing. So I'll buy that
Joe
one.
with the kickflip.
But come on. Who's playing football? Who's playing flag football in Belgium? Are they playing flag football in Japan? Yeah, just embarrassing. Embarrassing. Everything sucks, man. This is why I keep this is why I have to re-educate everybody, even people that know me. Like, guys, when something is so stupid, how do you want me to react? You want me to be all happy and accepting of things? How stupid is this? Flag football in an Olympic sport. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. But again, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. I know some of you I wasn't able to kind of set up earlier. My plan was to set up earlier, but the Dodgers didn't allow me to set up early. I was doing a bunch of things at the Oklahoma City game, and we were just, I guess, having a good time anyways, just kind of yapping and doing whatever. But let's see here. I'll answer one more question here for JY, since he has great questions. Superstar players don't produce superstar kids. Joe and Joe. Oh, no, they do. Marvin Harrison Jr. You have Ken Griffey Jr. You have plenty of guys that have good sons that are actually pro ball players. Unfortunately, I still don't Bronny's not a NBA player, and I'll stand on that hill and die on it on that one.
Just like Vando, the Vando supporters will die on that hill as well.
Hey, whatever, I guess, toots your horn. But again, I want to thank everyone for being.
Oh, hold on. Rodman's kid. She is damn good.
Talking about real sports here, G.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, I needed that little whatever thing that Jeff uses. I don't have anything here, by the way. Klay Thompson, good one there, Bloodhound. I ventured into the Sharks area. I don't know why there was a lot of shark videos today that kept popping up on my feed.
Is it Shark Week?
I don't know. Somebody was feeding them from a boat, and they were dropping the meat, and then you could just see a bunch of. I think they were hammerheads just going after it. So Kobe was better than his pops. Ken Griffey Jr. was better than his pops. Marvin Harrison Jr. could be better than his pops, but his pop's a Hall of Famer, so I don't know how much more you can go with that. Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, are they better than Archie? Peyton Manning probably, yeah. But Archie was good. He just had bad luck being drafted by the Saints. There's a lot of second-generation players. Hell, the Matthews brothers, Bruce Matthews, Clay Matthews Jr. So his grandfather, Clay Matthews Jr.'s grandfather, played in the 50s and 60s, and then Clay Matthews, his father, and then Bruce Matthews, his uncle, those guys, Bruce Matthews is a Hall of Famer. Clay Matthews Sr. played 17 years at linebacker for the Browns and the Atlanta Falcons. So, yeah, the problem with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., Aaron, is he couldn't get away from the nose candy. And now he has to – I saw on some kind of press conference where he was talking to one of those dipshits, those brothers. What is their names?
The Tate brothers?
No, not the guys that fight.
Oh, the Pauls.
Pauls, yeah, the one that both of them that are going bald, yet they have their little coif on the front.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, dude, just shave your head. You look like a fucking idiot. That one too, Bloodhound. Yeah, Prince Fielder. Although Cecil Fielder was to me better, and now this Cecil Fielder's grandson's going to be playing. Baseball has more second and third generation players typically.
The Griffies.
But the NBA is starting to come up, and then you're starting to see a lot more of it in football. It wasn't always like that. But again, wanted to thank everyone for being here tonight. I'm trying to plan and I'm trying to do more content. Or I'm trying to do a couple days a week, once a week for sure. A couple days a week. I'll try to venture into that world, but I need something to kind of with some meat on it. And unfortunately, these two conference finals in the NBA there's not a lot of meat on it, even though I do think the Pacers-Knicks series will be fun. I think the thing is going to start to kind of escalate as football nears, as the NBA draft and free agency comes. I think that's going to be a good thing. Baseball, May, June, July, baseball usually a lot of times it's kind of rigorous and redundant. But it'll get better as it goes, and I'll keep everybody updated on the content. I'll be on Jeff's show every now and then. Obviously, Gerald and I will still be doing the Lakers Fast Break when we can do that. But again, I want to thank you all for being here tonight. Tune in if you're here and you're new. Subscribe, notify, like. Give me what I need, baby. Give me what I need. And we'll continue the content to go where it needs to go. My production value is in its working process. I'm going to be getting new equipment in terms of computers, monitors, and things like that. So you might be seeing some new stuff here, and then maybe different angles, maybe different soundboards. And I was thinking about this, Gerald. Tell me what you think. This is something that Jeff, I remember when I first started going on the show, was thinking about doing. Have you ever done a show where you took calls?
I've not done a show personally I've been on a show that took calls, but I've never done one myself.
I'm doing some investigating on that. I'm not saying I'm going to do it, but if it works out to where I can monitor it the way I want and communication is clear, that's something I may investigate. So, little button at the end of the night. So with that, you are watching The Experiment, and I'm your host, Joe Sorrow. My co-host, Mr. Joe Glassford. Sometimes Empire Jeff is here as a co-host. And of course, all you lovely people out there, Sports Baby, Mark, Rafa, all you
Happy
guys.
birthday to Mark.
Happy birthday to 40 Mark. Money Mark 40. Happy birthday, my friend. I'm going to try to see if I can get to Australia at some point to see you and Sports Baby. I'm starting to figure some things out this summer that may materialize. Don't quote me on it yet, but I'm working on it. Hopefully I can get over there and we can party together. But until then, I'm going to put my normal button on this. Until next time. I'll see you next time.